The medical bay fell silent as the station's automated systems dimmed the overhead lights. Kalen watched from his recovery bed as the small predator cub in the corner cage immediately bristled. Vash's 6 eyes glowed amber in the darkness, and a low rumble built in its throat. The cub was barely 3 months old, but its species was legendary across the galaxy. Vexari were apex hunters from a death world where even the plants fought back. Adults could tear through reinforced steel with their claws. Their bite force exceeded that of mechanical crushers. No sentient species had ever successfully domesticated one. Kalen had found Vash 3 weeks ago on a salvage mission. The cub had been alone in a destroyed research vessel, surrounded by the bodies of scientists who had tried to study its kind. The station's xenobiologists wanted to euthanize it immediately. Too dangerous, they said. But Kalen had seen something in those amber eyes. Not malice. Fear. Now Vash snarled again as the lights dimmed further. The sound echoed through the empty medical bay. Sharp. Threatening. The cub's ridge of spine stood straight up along its back. The door hissed open. Kalen's nurse, Myra, stepped inside. She was Zinthari, a species known for their peaceful nature and strict adherence to protocol. Her antennae twitched as she heard the snarling. Mr. Kalen, I've told you before. That creature needs to be removed. Myra's voice was tight with concern. It's a predator. An infant predator is still a predator. Kalen shifted in his bed, wincing as his healing ribs protested. Vash isn't going to hurt anyone. It snarls every time the lights go down. That's hunting behavior. Myra kept her distance from the cage. The station director has approved the termination order. Security will come tomorrow. No. Kalen's voice was firm. Give me one more night. Myra's antennae flattened against her head, a sign of frustration. But she nodded slowly. One night. If it shows any aggression, I'm calling security immediately. She left, and the door sealed behind her. The bay's lights continued their gradual dimming for night cycle. Vash's snarling grew louder. The cub paced in tight circles inside the cage, claws scraping against the metal floor. Kalen understood fear when he saw it. He had grown up on Earth, in the mountains where winter nights stretched long and dark. He remembered being 5 years old, terrified when his parents turned off his bedroom light. The shadows had seemed alive, threatening, full of monsters. His mother had been patient. She never forced him to face the dark alone. Vash, Kalen called softly. It's okay, buddy. The snarling paused for a moment. The cub's 6 eyes fixed on him. Kalen reached over to his bedside panel and adjusted the settings. A soft, warm glow emanated from the light above his bed. Not bright enough to disrupt night cycle protocols, but enough to push back the darkness. Vash's spines lowered slightly. See, not so scary. Kalen kept his voice low and calm. Lights don't mean danger. They're just lights. The cub's rumbling continued, but softer now. Kalen watched as Vash pressed against the cage bars, staring at the gentle illumination. For 3 weeks, he had been working with the cub, teaching it that humans weren't threats. That food came regularly. That touch didn't mean pain. But this fear of darkness was different. Primal. On Vexer, predator cubs stayed with their mothers for the first year. They learned to hunt in daylight, and they slept in dens where bioluminescent fungi provided constant light. Total darkness meant abandonment. It meant death. Vash had been alone in that destroyed ship for days, maybe weeks, in complete darkness, waiting for a mother who would never return. The medical bay's lights dimmed to their night setting. Vash immediately began snarling again, louder than before. The cub threw itself against the cage bars. The sound of claws on metal rang through the room. Kalen made a decision. He pushed himself out of bed, ignoring the sharp pain in his ribs. His legs were unsteady, but he managed to walk to the cage. Vash backed into the corner, spines fully raised, teeth bared. The cub was terrified, and terrified predators were the most dangerous kind. It's okay, Kalen whispered. He keyed in the code to unlock the cage. I'm not going to hurt you. The door swung open. Vash didn't attack. The cub stayed in the corner, trembling. Its snarl had become a high-pitched whine. Kalen slowly knelt down, making himself smaller, less threatening. You don't like the dark, do you? Neither did I, when I was little. He extended his hand, palm up, waiting, not forcing. Vash's 6 eyes darted between Kalen's face and his hand. The whining continued. The cub took one tentative step forward, then another. Its claws clicked softly on the floor. That's it, Kalen encouraged. You're safe here. Vash moved closer. The cub's spines gradually lowered. It sniffed Kalen's hand, then pressed its broad head against his palm. The whining stopped. Kalen gently stroked behind Vash's ears, a spot he had learned the cub liked. See? Nothing to be afraid of. He stood slowly and walked back to his bed. Vash followed, staying close to his legs. When Kalen sat on the bed, the cub stopped at the edge, looking up at him. The amber eyes were still wide, but no longer filled with panic. Bed, Kalen said softly. He patted the blanket beside him. For a moment, Vash just stared. Then the cub bunched its muscles and leaped. It landed on the bed with surprising grace. Vash circled once, twice, then curled up against Kalen's side. The warm weight was comforting. Kalen adjusted his blanket to cover them both. The soft light above his bed created a small pool of safety in the darkness. Vash's breathing gradually slowed. The tension left its small body. Good boy, Kalen whispered. He rested his hand on the cub's side, feeling the steady rise and fall of breath. You're going to be okay. Vash's purring started as a low vibration. It grew stronger, a sound of contentment that no xenobiologist had ever recorded. The cub shifted closer, tucking its head under Kalen's arm. When Myra checked on them an hour later, she found them both asleep. The human and the apex predator curled together in the gentle light. She stared for a long moment, her antennae quivering with confusion. Then she quietly updated her report. The termination order could wait, perhaps indefinitely. Tomorrow, she would tell the director something impossible. A human had done what no other species could. He had taken a creature of nightmares and shown it how to trust, how to feel safe, how to love. But for tonight, in the dim warmth of the medical bay, a small predator slept peacefully. Not because it had been tamed, but because someone had understood its fear and chosen kindness instead of giving up. The galaxy would learn soon enough. Humans didn't conquer through force alone. Sometimes, their greatest strength was knowing when to simply say, bed, and mean, you're home.